Hello, and welcome everybody to another episode of r/ProRevenge. Before I jump in, you know the drill. My name's Ryan, the official host here at Reddit Voice, and I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification bell to stay up to date on all the latest videos. Relatives lose everything because they were too stupid to keep their mouths shut. A bit of context here, I work as a lawyer for an excellent and famous law firm here in northern Italy. My family went through some tough times in the last 9 years. We had to face a brutal divorce with my dad having depleted every single cent he could. One of my aunts was brutally murdered because of a £150 cautionary deposit. My granddad was diagnosed with cancer and some other funny stuff in the middle. Because of that, our bonds became stronger and stronger. Must say that with my family, I mean my mother, her parents, my two aunts, this year, a particular pandemic you may have heard of managed to take away both of my aunts. I loved them to the moon and back, but one of them was married to a complete douchebag. He always considered himself to be better and smarter than anyone else, and so were his relatives. My aunt and her husband, I straight up refused to call him uncle, lived in a huge house, and so did his brother with her wife and son. He died around 7 or 8 years ago and left almost everything he could just to his brother and family, completely ignoring my family because OP's granddad is already rich. Why should I leave anything to his daughter and grandson? Basically, this year, my aunt was won by COVID. I was grieving since I really loved her and cared about her, and I already lost an aunt prior. But when the notary called us to read the will, both me and my mother came out completely astonished. She left us just a few things, even though she always said she would have left us basically everything. I don't need the money involved that much, as I already inherited from my other aunt and my job pays me really well, but my mom always had to struggle, financially speaking. It would have been a huge help since she doesn't want anything from me, and I tried to give her some money in the past, but she always sent it back, being as stubborn as she can be. As we walked out, I pulled my cousin by my side to ask him just one thing. Hey cousin, listen, I know it's a dumb question, but when I last saw her, I brought my aunt a little ceramic bell shaped as a lady. She holded it to her chest all the time. I'd like to have it back, it would be a memory of her. He, smiling at me as I was the most stupid people on earth. Yeah, sure, whatever, I don't know what I could do with the stupid bell, take it. But don't expect us to give you anything more. We had to sweat bullets for this will to work. I'm sorry, what do you mean? He realized he screwed up, so he just left. My mom went back home, and I headed back to my office to take a closer look on my aunt's will. It was bulletproof, and the handwriting was, without any doubt, my aunt's. So what the hell did he mean? It took me several weeks to finally get the clue. As previously mentioned by my husband, it was just this small phrase. My aunt's husband died 7 years before. How the hell could he mention anything? Since zombies are still nowhere to be seen and I don't know of any deceased person talking from his grave, I started to scan the whole will once again. Things I never noticed became as clear as the sun. There were missing pages. My aunt numbered them, but the second and fourth pages were missing, with sentences left hanging there. Some of the corrections were legit, but looking closely, there were a few of them where the uncertain hand of an 81-year-old lady suddenly became stronger and more precise. My aunt's husband was mentioned every time my aunt was talking about money and valuables. He did say something about the savings, but apparently his tithes that were to be given to charity didn't need his approval. Strange, huh? When I talked to my mom and her parents about this, my granddad, who's 74 and still has more strength and lucidity than your average 40-year-old, mentioned my aunt's husband's will. We don't know what he said. His family never lets us even take a look at it, and it wasn't worth it to sue him. I went back to the notary the next day, asking to see the will. Since I was a relative, he let me, but asked what was going on. I simply said, "You'll know soon enough." When I read it, I started laughing so hard that even the secretary came to see what was going on. I rushed back to my office and started to write everything down. Shit was about to hit the fan, but not for my family. After a few days, me, my mom, her parents, and my aunt's relatives met once again in front of the notary. I already told them what was happening, and I could see him trying not to look disgusted as my aunt's husband's beloved ones walked in. Notary, we are all here. Apparently, OP has some things to discuss with us concerning inheritances. You could hear a pin drop a mile away. I stood up and opened my bag. My family was smiling, my relatives were staring daggers from their eyes. As we all know, Auntie left everything to you. Nothing is wrong here, as she didn't have any direct relationship with anyone in this room. What is wrong is the reason behind it. I handed a copy of the will to everyone, some parts being highlighted. As you can see, pages are missing. Some corrections are different, to say the least, but most importantly, my uncle is cited quite often. This led me to his will. At this point, my relatives turned whiter than snow. My cousin tried to stop me, telling me I couldn't possibly use my uncle's will as more than 5 years have passed. The notary told him that I totally could, as the allowance to contest a will is 10 years. He kept silent. He left to my aunt everything he had if she would have left it to you as she died. You see, in our state it's not legal to make such a kind of contract, so I wanted to let you know that you just lost all your rights on my uncle's will, and you are all to be sued for false declaration and public deed and attempted fraud. They started screeching and screaming, calling me names and wishing me an obviously pleasant and late death, all because one of them wasn't clever enough to shut his mouth. Now they lost everything they had. Since their farm, their money, their house, and their car were all my uncle's, they've been forced to leave the house that they were living in, all their bank accounts have been blocked, and even their farm had to be closed, since it was also my uncle's previous activity. Since the correction they made were actually very precise, and some items, jewelry, ingots, cash, are now mysteriously missing, they even have to pay for an equal value. They had a little empire, but managed to lose everything over greed and stupidity. Ladies and gentlemen, please listen to me. If you want to screw with someone, at least have the courtesy of not doing it with a lawyer. Never bully your insurance company, or you'll lose your franchise. Hello all, excuse any poor grammar or spelling, I'm on mobile and TLDR at the bottom. This story comes from a friend of mine, Sarah, and has been building for almost 5 years until it all came crashing down over the last week. A few things to note before I get into it. Sarah works at an insurance company dealing with a massive nationwide delivery company. Her company insures all of the delivery trucks. Over the years, Sarah has seen her fair share of anger from callers, mostly justified or people letting off steam at the anonymous voice on the other end of the phone. She's learned not to take it personal. She absolutely despises the owner of one particularly franchised depot, Dick. On to the story. We start in 2016. Dick is the franchise of a vehicle depot for a delivery company, meaning he's sort of an owner, but the company's CEO could take away his ownership if they felt like it. I'm not sure exactly how this works, but as far as I understand, it's a fairly standard franchise contract. So anyone who knows about these things should have had a rough idea of what Dick has to do. Dick calls in for the first time to talk to Sarah about a claim one of his drivers is making. Something simple, reversed into a wall, minimal damage, but claiming to get the vehicle repaired. Dick starts ranting and screaming about how dare he/her as his driver be expected to pay an excess standard. Sarah has dealt with people like this all her career, so she just deals with it as she always does. And so it continues for 2 years, with Dick bullying and abusing any call handler when he calls about a claim. It's annoying, and plenty of people have been brought to tears by it, but they can't stop serving him because he's responsible for dealing with his franchise's claim. It's now 2018, and Dick decides to get himself arrested. To give you an idea of just how stupid this man is. One of his drivers had been in a really bad accident. No one was seriously hurt, but the van was badly damaged. So while it was being repaired, Sarah organized for a hire van. Dick goes to hire company to collect the van, and he's asked to make a £1 payment by debit/credit card to secure the vehicle. I'm pretty sure it's so the hire company can just charge it for any damage caused while on hire. And it's an industry standard in my country. Dick doesn't like this, and he argues with the hire company. He threatens to dump the hire vehicle once he's finished with it. Finally, he punches the poor bloke working the front desk. As previously stated, Dick gets arrested. Fast forward to a few months ago. Everyone's working from home, yay lockdown, and people understand this. Everyone except Dick. He must be having a particularly bad day because his tantrum about how useless Sarah and her company is descends into personal insults. Sarah, having an equally bad day, decides that now is the moment she will get revenge on this guy for everything he's put every claim handler through. So she requests a copy of the recording of the call. All calls recorded for safety, complaints, and calling people out on their bullshit. She then sends this recording to 3 people. Her manager, saying she refuses to speak to Dick due to his abusive behavior. The rest of the team agree, and suddenly there's not a single claims handler willing to speak to this man. Manager says he's will sort something. 2, Dick's boss, simply stating that this behavior is unacceptable, and the next time he tries to speak to someone at an insurance company that way, they'll end the call. And 3, every listed CEO or board member of Dick's company. She wanted all of them to know just how vile this man was. Then, today, she gets the call she's been waiting for. A representative of delivery company has called, wanting to apologize for everything Dick put her and her team through. He also gives her the best news. Dick has been downgraded from franchise owner to a lowly delivery driver. His lovely pay packages, benefits, annual bonus, and company-funded car, a brand new Merc for anyone interested, have all been taken away. He now earns a little over minimum wage, 60 hours a week to pay his bills, with his reputation in tatters. If he doesn't meet the standard for delivery drivers within the next 3 months, he'll be fired. Sarah also learned from someone she knows in the company that his wife is divorcing him because he told her she needs to get a job or they'll lose the house thanks to his sudden drop in income. Sarah hasn't yet met the new franchisee, but if I know her, she'll make it clear that she's the one who ruined Dick's life, and she isn't afraid to do it again if the new guy doesn't treat her and her colleagues with respect. Lesson: don't be a dick to call center employees. TLDR, Dick abuses call center staff for 4 years, loses big job, nice car, and wife. Edit. First, thank you all for liking, and especially to those of you who have given rewards. Second, I want to emphasize for those who have commented on the franchise part of things, I have a very limited knowledge on how this works. As far as me and Sarah know, Dick started as an employee of this place and got the money to buy the franchise. There's something in the contracts that allows the company to take away his franchise, and since he was formerly a driver, he was given that job back on probation. Third, for the person who pointed out the description of lowly delivery driver, I should have made this more clear. This is in no way demeaning the job of the wonderful people do. It's how Dick always described the position when he called. And with that, my friends, we've reached the end of today's video. If you liked it, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe. As always, my name's Ryan, the official host here at Reddit Voice, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.